So in that case, the sinks are bad, the sources are good, and then we want to assign the negative value to the sinks and the positive value to the sources.
So if you're trying to find the ecosystem service value for thinning,
yep.
Right.
It's going to have to do assessing sinks. I'm going to show you actually some really cool maps.
Even though it's also at the source. It's both the sink and the source.
There's two parts to this, right? Because I don't want to conflate a baseline assessment and a scenario. Okay? If you thin something and then rerun the scenario, or the assessment, and you compare two scenarios, one in which you had a depressed source, then you can say there's this much more service generated in this case than in this case, or this much less threat in this case, But that's a scenario delta, as opposed to a delta due to the current configuration of the landscape. So we do a baseline assessment, and then we do scenarios for either increasing or decreasing sources, sinks, or rechanneling flow paths. You guys got that? Awesome. So review of the terminology. The service medium is the amount of energy information transmits the service, benefit or detriment, between locations. We model them using network flow and agent-based models. So this means that I take some water, or take some bees, or take some fire or something, and I create little guys, little entities, which have a weight and a route value. So the weight is like a little bucket holding some fire or some water or something like that. And then they run around the landscape following their flow algorithm. They try to dump it onto users while the sinks try to suck it up while they run across them. So we simulate it with a bunch of little moving guys on the landscape.
Sounds like Pac-Man.
Exactly, something like that, only with lots and lots of them. Sort of like Pac-Man with ants. And then as they're running around this landscape, each location has three properties. It's source, sink, and use value, which represents the amount it's going to generate, the amount that it can absorb if a carrier runs through there with the service medium, and then the use capacity and whether it's viable or non-viable, of course. So that's sort of your demand value, right? So you're not going to take any more once your demand is saturated, that kind of thing. So then, we put it on a map.